Good evening to all the respected dignitaries on the meet. Uh, IAE Global is proudly hosting a webinar for women empowerment. And on this occasion, we have invited our chief guest, Dr. Yukteswar Kumar, as a chief guiding force in order to help us navigate through different ideologies and help us with the reforms that have to be brought in spreading awareness to the society. I would like to start by giving a small brief about Dr. Yukteswar Kumar. Dr. Yukteswar Kumar is the first Asian to be elected as the deputy mayor of the UNESCO Heritage City of Bath in the UK. He was also the first Indian to be elected as a councillor at Bath and North East Somerset Council, UK. He was elected with a massive margin against his rival candidates during the elections on 2nd May 2019. Professor Kumar is a leading educationist and philanthropist. While he was teaching at the university founded by the first Nobel laureate, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore ji, he helped in foundation of the Divine Public School in West Bengal. Dr. Kumar also helps running of two primary schools in the impoverished rural part of Bihar. Mr. Kumar did his primary school from Jagdishpur, where there was no electricity in those days, and mostly studied under a kerosene-lit lantern. Dr. Kumar further studied at JNU and was the topper of his class. He has also taught at several universities in India, including Delhi University, JNU, Vishwa Bharati, Shantiniketan, Peking University, Tianjin University, and delivered lectures and seminars across the globe. Dr. Kumar has been an All India Students Leader, and under his leadership, more than 10,000 students joined his struggle. He led the struggle with great force. Sorry about my signal. Dr. Kumar has been an All India Students Leader, and under his leadership, more than 10,000 students joined his struggle and demonstrations, and the government of India had to take back their anti-student draconian policies, including abolition of several languages from the civil services examination. Prior to joining the University of Bath 15 years ago, Mr. Kumar has served in India and China for almost 14 years as a senior academic and is extremely fluent in 5 languages, including Mandarin and Bengali. He thinks globally but acts locally, and this is what is needed to reform the world. Dr. Kumar has also been one of the founding members of the Bath Cultural Society and has organized many events in the town and delivered several public lectures. He is the vice chair of Bath and Northeast Somerset County Standing Advisory Council for religious education for several years, and he was also the Hindu advisor to Wiltshire County. Dr. Kumar has delivered several lectures at various schools in both these countries on Hinduism and Indian culture. Dr. Kumar has also procured a land in Shantiniketan, West Bengal for establishing a TAN memorial, Sino-Indian Friendship Trust, museum, research center, and school, and currently working on this project. He's looking forward for garnering support from various quarters of the society. As one of the best Chinese speakers of India, he's the first and only Indian to serve as a senior academic at one of the best Western universities in the world. Dr. Kumar has also authored several articles, books, and is currently working on a book called Modi, Sheeping, and Sino-Indian Interface. Dr. Kumar's latest translated book in Hindi, Nark Se Swarg Tak, is now available on Amazon. Prior to the run-up local elections in the United Kingdom, Kumar was racially abused on a street, and he reported about this to the concerned authorities and was featured on the front pages of several local newspapers in Bath. Dr. Kumar regularly writes in electronic and print media and has featured on BBC, TV9, and CCTV several times. Professor Kumar has publicly announced that the significant part of the honorarium from his role as a counselor will go for various charity and community works, both in the UK and in India. So let us all welcome this prestigious and esteemed Mr. Kumar. to now address the Zoom meet.
Thank you for very, very long and undeserving accolades on me. I really do not deserve, but thank you for patiently listening to me. In fact, I have made a PPT for my presentation and would request the organizers to not to disable the screen sharing part. So either you can make me a co-host for some time or allow me to share my screen. I like making presentation and that with a bit of visuals, although not very long, but a bit. So it would be good if I could be allowed to share my screen. I am allowed now, and I reckon I can do that. Can you see the screen?
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Okay, excellent. I hope you all can see the screen and understand I've got about 10 minutes time to present before you. So my main theme today is, do we celebrate women enough? Yeah, do we celebrate that? A reflection, and how do we reposit the womanhood locally and globally? Because that repositing of womanhood was the theme given to me. I would start with some interesting facts. Perhaps some of you know that the first Women Rights Convention made in New York, Seneca Falls, almost 200 years ago, 175 years ago. And the state now, Wilmington Territory, became the first place to grant women to vote many years ago. It was not until 1918 in the UK that the Act of 1918 was passed. So you can understand that even till 1918, and perhaps our great-great-grandfather were alive, even till that time, a developed country like the UK did not allow women to be even elected to the parliament. And they didn't have the voting rights. In fact, in 1928, after 10 years, in Wales, England, Scotland, they got that right to franchise by the Representation Act of 1928. Just 8 years ago in the USA, the 19th Amendment was passed, and just about 102 years ago, women in the USA had the right to vote. So we have to do quite a lot. There are some key people here and notable women who have worked hard many times, including my favorite one is Elizabeth Cady and Victoria, who tried to be the first women president of America. But till now, more than 150 years since 1872, America has not been able to see a woman president. The vice president has African and Indian origins and heritage. I was looking at some social media and somebody said that if today the president of Russia would have been a woman, there would have been no war. And perhaps I agree that if the most powerful leaders in the world would have been women, perhaps the world would have been much better, safe, peaceful. and a stable place. And I really mean it, because it is the ego of Putin. I have been to the beautiful country. Russia is beautiful. I've been to almost all the countries in Europe, and Russia is one of, I mean, obviously it is part of Europe and Asia as well. But it is just the ego, thus that male chauvinistic, the male chauvinistic spirit and tendency, proclivity, domination, that has led to really this war. It is unnecessarily. My good friend from JNU, very, very junior, an author, he lives in East Ukraine today with his family. He's married to a Ukrainian, Rakesh Shankar Bharti, who comes on Facebook every single day and does Facebook Live. And he says, I am not going to leave. That is not taught to us. I will die fighting for my family against Putin. That is what is. So what problem you have? I always say, which is written in the number 7 point as well, that do not doubt your belief and do not believe your doubts. Yeah? Do not doubt your beliefs and do not believe your doubt. And women, as I said, there would have been no war today because they are much more tolerant and compassionate. That is what I have learned from my wife, from my sisters, from my mother, and my female colleagues. Just this morning, I was speaking at the council as well, and I made these points. They have much more inclusiveness. So that's why if in any organization, if you have women in power, they can bring much more inclusive culture. Because the female brain is naturally wired for long-term strategic vision and community building. This is not I saying, this is research saying. And that's why emergence of female leaders, both in politics, business, that can become a centrifugal force for good in the world. Because today, the ravages of war has unfortunately broken the human system. And situation today, as I said earlier, that till now, even after 170 years, when there was a lady who wanted to become the first president of America, and even today, the maximum is a vice president. The problem is that only 5% of the CEOs of major companies are women. The situation is changing. I'm not giving you all the data. I was listening to Bristol BBC radio today only, and there was a 2-hour program on International Women's Day, because I live between London and Bristol. Bath is between London and Bristol. And they were giving all the data, and I was listening to them. I mean, situation is improving in, top 100 companies, top 150, top 200, Fuji 100, all the kind, Forbes 100, all those kind of things. And things are improving, but still a long way, because it is still not at parity. It's not 50%. Situation in bigger companies in USA and New Zealand in particular is worse in major countries than France, West Europe, or Nordic nations like Norway, Finland, and others. The data also suggests that if in any corporation, if there are 10% more female, then overall, a spike in return is 1.5%. Just by having 10% more female in your organization. If you have an organization of 90 people and you had just 30 people, perhaps female, make it 40, make it 45, the female representation, and you will have a spike of 1.5%. Simple. So empowering women is much more important as well for playing field. And we need to celebrate much more. Even in India, as far as I know, it is not an official holiday today. Yeah. In the UK, it is not official holiday today. We need to celebrate. In some European countries, including Russia, you will remember Poland, Bulgaria, Slovakia, and some European countries, it is official holiday today. Even in China, where not to talk of any president or prime minister or foreign minister, till today, not a single woman has been to the Politburo of the Standing Committee of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China till today. The maximum they have been is to the Vice Prime Minister, and Vice Prime Minister in China, or Vice Mayors, like here, there is only one Vice Mayor like me. But in China, there will be always one Mayor and 4 Vice Mayor, 1 Prime Minister and 4 Vice Prime Minister. Even today, they have got 3. So all the deputies in China, they are multiple, but even till date, not a single vice president, not a single, as I said, the Politburo Standing Committee member of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China has been a female. But at least the women can get an official half-day leave, so half state at least. In Italy, for example, La Festa della Donna, that kind of festival is celebrated very near from us, I mean from me, where I'm sitting, and medical checkups are free. And sitting in the UK, I must quote Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady of the UK, who rightly said, if you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman. And that's what I said today for a simple thing, because as a vice chair of a Standing Advisory Council for Religious Education, and which we call SACRE in Bath, even our website is not linked to the main council website. And in the morning I said that, yes, I am speaking, but if it has to be done, it will be done. And luckily, the officer in charge for putting that website on the council website was a female. So I said that. What a good coincidence that I am speaking and you will do it with, and she promised it will be done in 3 weeks. I said, thank you. I thought you will do it in 3 months at least, if there was a man perhaps. So she said, no, it will be done in 3 weeks because things go slowly here, unlike in China. Anyway, I have given you some quotation to have a thought over here, some of them which I like. These are obviously, perhaps some of you know, but one of these by Margaret Thatcher and by Che, that the women are the real architects of the society, and where there is a woman, there is a magic. These are 2 or 3, basically all the 5 are my favorite ones. So choose all of these quotation if you may like. And that's why, although I'm a man and I'm speaking, but I believe in the spirit of being a female, and that's why IAE Global has been established, and they call it global, or we call it local as well, because it is global as well as local. So you can call global, you can call local, and sitting in the UK, I mean, most of you, perhaps some of you I can see are already a member and you're active on WhatsApp. I'm sorry that I have been not very active on WhatsApp because of various roles and responsibilities I have. But just to say, if those who do not know about this global organization, not very far from me, in fact, which was established last year in June, 2nd of June 2021, Hampshire, which is just about 90 minutes drive from me, which is nothing in India or in most of the country nowadays. It is a legal entity, and we and all of us create opportunities for women, in particular from here, obviously under the guiding force of IAE Global India, with Vise leading the team. And it is holding companies, which is the reason I don't like reading what is already on the PPT, which you can always obviously see. I have got two screens, so I do not know which screen you are seeing, but hopefully whatever screen you are able to see should be fine. Now, the main thing is the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals of 2015. And finally, I mean, it was earlier 15 and in 2020, it was 17. And I had done a UN conference on this because our students, most of my students, they are top class interpreters, and we work closely with the United Nations, and we get support. Just last month, for 3 weeks, we had a very senior colleague from United Nations office in Nairobi, Kenya, who was working with us and learning with us and teaching our students as well, my students as well. And so the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the UN are very, very important, and we work on the same spirit. Yeah, so I was just talking about the IAEE Global or Glocal that we are working, and I was talking about the United Nations Charter and SDGs goal of 7, and my colleague who was here, and we talked, and in fact we organize many conferences like the United Nations to teach our students and practice. So what happens is we have colleagues, students who speak French, German, Russian, Spanish, Italian, Chinese, and people like here we are meeting, we have got a conference room and we've got all this simultaneous interpreting facilities. And nice to say that most of our top class interpreters, they are female. So we empower them, and we had one meeting on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals last year. So we do that, and we enable people for, I mean, as IAE, you can go on the LinkedIn website and other places, and we try to generate a very collegial or convivial atmosphere for this, and provide support, and hopefully we will continue to support and extend all kind of help. As I said earlier as well, and that is my motto as well, that never believe your doubt and do not doubt your belief. With these kind words, I would like to stop. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to reply or answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a question, Honorable Dignitary.
Yes, please.
Okay. Sir, you showed about the significance of the women in the European region. In a continent like Europe, there is, that's, I should say, women in leadership, in political aspect, in economic aspects, in multiple domains. So, sir, what do you feel about, in comparison, you have actually probably have traveled across the globe, right? And you find that, countries who are developing countries, what do you feel, what could be the provision which could be made for the women who are in India, or who are, okay, so since you also showed stood for the solidarity for the Europe, for the people from arm stricken or under war, for example Ukrainian women, or the women who are from the places which are going through war, or circumstances which have led to unpleasant experiences, what could be their position in times from now? Thank you. For improving the condition.
What is your specific question? In India or in Ukraine or what? It's not very, it's a bit convoluted. So I could obviously...
Sure. So my question is for the women in India, one, and then also for the women who belong to a region which is experiencing chaos, there's a ruckus or a war has come up. So that's the question.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, obviously, if in India, women population and their equality needs much more attention. So uh, there are some works has been done in the country. For example, reservations for women in parliamentary seats or local government seats, but it is not enough. And why should, I do not believe in the policy of really reservation. You should empower them. And that is why IAE and other global companies or NGOs, they can do. So first of all, literacy. Yeah, that is very, very important. Because in Rajasthan and Bihar and Orissa, the literacy rate among women is still much lower than the male. So we need to change that. Yeah, give them money, give them power. Fellowships, but ladies, he said that if any work needs to be done, it can be done by female much more efficiently by the males. So you have, the female have the power, the female can do much more work. And that's why it will be important that we do give that kind of platform to them in India. So education, literacy, and empowerment. Now, for solution a problem like recent, like you say, a country which is war ravaged, like Ukraine or Syria or earlier in Iraq or Afghanistan. I mean, the problem is that by nature, women take care of the family much more efficiently for the child. I mean, let's be honest, yeah, how much time you give and how much time your wife or your sister give to their kid. And
Right.
yeah, so
Please.
just the last point over here. So just now, for example, in this kind of situation, other countries should be much more collegial and give much more opportunities. So just now, for example, people in Poland, in Ukraine, who had gone to Poland, and a female 84-year-old lady, just this morning, she was waiting outside the British embassy. The temperature was -3, cold, inclement weather, and the British embassy was not even opening the doors, despite requests. I mean, these kind of simple things, particularly for women. Because let's be honest as well, although women are more intelligent, but body-wise, that's why we've got different women's cricket and males, because males' body is different. I know, I play badminton, and when I play against let's say, British #1 women player, I can't win against her, but I can make 10 points. But against male player, I can't make even 1 point. So a female body is different, and that's why we need to give them support. So it is very, very important that we all give more opportunities to women and the globe, particularly the global leaders. It is the same, for example, for the British Prime Minister and British Foreign Office, that till today, he has given only 50, you will laugh, 50 visas to Ukrainian refugees, while many other countries, including Poland and Romania, they have given thousands and thousands of thousands. So because we all are human beings, yeah, we are all same. We might have a different color, but we are all, I mean, it is not my fault or your fault that you were born in that kind of country, or but then opportunity should be given. As India and as Lord Buddha always said, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is what the spirit of India, and that is what the spirit of global leaders should be at this moment. Thank you.
Wonderful. So may I please request Gyanada to please take the charge and set the note for my time from me time, talk about the me time, what we discussed this afternoon with the audience, global audience, and thereafter bring it on the my time and connect it with Honorable His Excellency Dr. Y. Kumar's thought and the presentation, lovely presentation and lovely information which was shared by Honorable Sir. And from there, we hand it over to the panelists to discuss it amongst themselves so that we are able to get guided by Honorable His Excellency Dr. Y. Kumar to give us the ideas to craft way forward.